Time to get rid of this old miter saw station. It's very bulky, doesn't fit my new saw, and hard to clean behind. I'm gonna start by cutting up some 2x4s. I think for this one I'm gonna cut the rounded edges off. Just see how that gives it a cleaner look. You don't have to do this. This is definitely extra, but it does make it look a lot better in my opinion. So let's do that. Keeping our fingers away. Table saws are scary. Now I'm gonna make some lap joints with lots of glue and screws. Make this table as strong as possible. I'm gonna use some corner clamps I got off Amazon. Make sure everything's square. Definitely don't want it to be out of square, so just clamping that on there. A couple brad nails, pre-drilling to avoid cracks, and screwing everything down. Breaking out the pocket hole jig. Struggling with the dust collection here. Dust collection is really good. It just wants to tip the jig over. These are the pieces that are going to hold the two sides together. So that piece on the floor, that's the left or right side. And then putting on the other left or right side, you'll see I'm making a mistake here. I've got the lap joints on the exterior showing all the screws. Turns out they were backwards, but I glued everything down, so guess what? Now the joints are exposed, and that's how we're gonna leave it. Here's a quick overview of the framing. That is what's supposed to be on the outside. It is on the inside, because I messed that up. And I've got the pocket holes facing up on the bottom. Those should be facing down. Again, attention to detail. Not exactly my strong point on this project. Usually I'm pretty good with it. All right, making the tabletop, just using 1/2-inch plywood, lots of glue. Gonna put everything on, brad nails, because the glue's doing all the work. Okay, now to make the wings. This is gonna have fold out wings. And I'm just using what I have here. The wings on the left and right side are not gonna be the same length. And that's just because of the setup of my shop. You can do whatever size you want. Lots of glue here. Some short 5/8 brad nails just to pin everything down. And then when I go to put the wings on, I'll have the brad nails facing down, so you won't even see them. The glue's doing all the work. So. Okay, so on the bottom, definitely mismeasured the 2x4, so I had to flush those up. Putting on some 2-inch casters. I don't need them to be crazy big. I just need to be able to move it out so I can clean behind it. And they have locks on them, so that's good. Keeps the saw stationary. Quick sand here just to knock off all the splinters. Probably not gonna paint this. I don't know. Painted the last one. Thought it looked ugly. Probably just leave this one bare wood. It's inside, so not a big deal. Again, pocket holes up. That was stupid. I don't know why I did that. And then again, joint facing out. That should have been the left side. That piece should have been the right side. You should be able to see only one long 2x4, but again, put them on backwards. So here we are. All right, moving the saw over. Now to disassemble. That was oddly strong. And we're gonna burn everything, clean everything, Lots of screws left over. I'll find quickly why you shouldn't reuse screws here in just a few minutes. So on the saw, I didn't have a good place to mount it, so I'm going to add some 2x4s just to be able to screw the lags into. That's me doing this here. Quick pocket holes, and then I will attach those to the bottom side of the table, and that'll give a place for the lag screws. Here is why you should not reuse pocket hole screws. I am struggling because the heads of the screws are rounded off and should have just grabbed a couple new screws. I was being cheap or frugal, however you want to look at it. Nevertheless, use new screws. All right, got a new place to mount the saw now. Just gonna finish tightening these couple pocket hole screws up. I'm underneath drilling towards me, so that was not easy. I'm gonna measure from the front side of the table just to make sure that the saw is square to the table front. This will be important when I put the wings on because I'm gonna add T-tracks for a stop on my saw. Gonna pre-drill everything. I just don't want anything to crack. I've spent a lot of time making sure nothing's cracking. So gonna continue that, pre-drill. These lag screws are pretty big, so definitely don't want to split the 1/2-inch plywood here. So just pre-drilling that, adding the 1/2-inch lag screws, or actually definitely not 1/2-inch. I think 3/8. 3/8. 1/2-inch head to drill them. Okay, adding the extensions for the wings. I could have nested the saw down, but I wasn't 100% sure I wanted wings on the sides of this, but decided to go with it. So here we are. Doesn't look the best, but serves its purpose. So installing the extensions and hinges. These are 12-inch folding hinges. Just making 100% sure here that the wood is flat on the miter saw so that I'm not getting bad cuts. This is the most important part of this shelf. Make sure that the transition from the saw to the shelf is level so that you're not making angled cuts inadvertently thinking that they're going to be perfect 90-degree cuts, because they won't be. If your tabletop is too high, it'll cut at an angle. If your tabletop is too low, it'll cut at an angle. So very, very important. Make sure everything's level. That's me just double checking that with the level. You'll see here in a sec, these hinges are very finicky if they are not parallel. They will not close. I was off by maybe a 1/16 and they wouldn't close. So quick adjustment here. I got everything to where it folds down nice and easy. Very nice hinges, just kind of finicky if they're not parallel. Had to move it over a 1/16. You could just measure from inside to inside to make sure they're parallel, but I didn't do that. I don't know why. Hindsight. That's how you lower them. You just push those little locks in and it lowers all the way down. And there you have your wing. All right, gonna do a quick cut here. Perfect 90. Add a little support for my vacuum. Here is the wings folded out. Quick fold down, get those out of the way. This is way easier to clean behind as well. Everybody knows miter saws are super messy. Rolls right out of the way. Lots of extra space now. Now on to installing the T-track. This is just leftover T-track I had from my CNC table that I made. Using a 3/8 1/4-inch bit in my palm router here, making several passes because I just, like I said, wasn't super confident in doing this and didn't want to remake the wings. So installing multiple pieces because, again, this is scrap T-track that I have left over. Lots of measuring here. making sure that it's straight. Several passes, double checking all the depth and width so that it's a snug fit, but not too big. Sand everything down, couple cuts, install with some screws. Now I'm gonna install some metal tape. I started at 1 at the actual blade, so by the time it measures out onto the wing, it's the actual length of the item that I'm cutting. Again, this is metal tape. It has 3M sticky back adhesive on the back of it. Get that down on the table there. Again, this is metal, so I'm gonna try with the hacksaw. Doesn't work. Multi-tool to the rescue, file down the hard edges. Now let's make a cut and make sure it measures accurately. I'm gonna use my PowerTech stop, set it at 30, make a cut, remeasure, bam. And finally, one last quick look at the sort of finished product. I might add some drawers underneath it, I don't know. Simple project. I think it's a good upgrade over the last miter saw station I had. I think all in probably $150. So not a bad project.